the things I like doing, having a very detailed script, shooting on film, I don't think are the sort of things that, at the time that people were coming up with the term mumblecore, they were talking mostly about movies shot on very low-grade video that were mostly improvised. And I've never made a movie that does either of those things. So there's a lot from sort of what was happening in American independent cinema 10 years ago that continues to inspire the way that I work, which is small crew if possible, a lot of repeat collaborators, and just kind of working in a comfort zone. But everything else has sort of evolved to a point now where the movies hopefully are all different from each other and also different from other movies that my friends and peers are making. There was a time a few years ago where it seemed like the only way to keep making movies would be to try to find opportunities where someone has a script and they're looking for a director, which 4 or 5 years ago I thought was something that might be really interesting. But now I'm able to write faster than I can make movies. So I have a few scripts that could go at any given moment if we are able to kind of get the resources together. So with that in mind, and now that I've sort of learned how to make movies in a certain way with professional actors who are well known, but I've been able, with the last couple of movies, to combine that with the very low budget, very small crew method of my first 2 movies. It doesn't seem like there will be a point where I can't make one of my own movies. If I have an original script and I have a few actors that are ready to come collaborate, I can probably safely get the money together. And to me, if I'm going to go through all the stress and all the difficulty, I would rather do that than do it all from a script that someone else wrote, because it's easy enough for me to write new scripts and write them with certain actors who I know in mind. So there's always an actor or 2 who is ready to make the movie by the time I finish writing it. The first 2 movies were made entirely without any resources. It was all just me and favors. And then starting with my 3rd movie, Listen Up, Philip, we were able to sort of bring production companies in, which would give us things like an office to work in, or an accountant who works for the company who can take care of things, do all the bookkeeping and all this sort of logistics. And then on the last 2 movies, I sort of tried to make them, again, very independently, but with other companies collaborating. So with Listen Up, Philip, I was very lucky to be in a position to have all these companies, 2 companies, collaborate to make the movie. On the last 2 movies, I start with just me and a friend of mine who's a producer. And then we approach a company or 2 and say, we're making this movie, this is how we're making it, would you like to be a part of it? And companies have said yes. So it's sort of about mixing what resources you need, because the last thing I want to do right now, what I've learned a lot of people do by mistake, is make movies with more resources than the movie needs.
Medzinárodný filmový festival Bratislava od 11. do 17. novembra. Ak neprídeš, nezažiješ.